You know, I was having a interesting thought on the concept of what I was just uploading in the last video, and people would say push your buttons, right? Push your buttons, or you can get your buttons pressed, or they was pushing your buttons. That's why you got like that. Well, if you think about the mechanics of what happens when you push a button, and it's funny because me and someone was speaking about how the actual pretty much every mechanic in the world, or anything that's made from a motherboard to the mechanics of a bike, is made in the image of the human body in some form. You know what I mean? Like, and moreover, the original man's body, like, because of how many functions it's capable of. And you can like actually draw pictures of little things off the design of the human body, like little parts, and take it out and separate it and create something like. So anyway, if you know how the mechanism of a button that's being pressed, how it actually works, is like you push the button and the signal goes into a spring, and the spring lifts up another lever, and that lever pulls a copper cable. It pulls it, whether down, left, right, up, or whatever, and it pulls it to a spot where there's another copper cable, and that other copper cable sparks a signal of electricity, right? And that between those two, when they touch, it sends a signal of electricity to allow that button to work however it's supposed to be, whether it's a switch on the wall for a light, whether it's a video game button, like you're in an arcade, you pressing a button over and over and over. That many times is how many times you're pulling that copper cord down to get that friction, and to make a combination point to where that transcends a level of electricity to go give the signal. They create things in the aspect of how elements are created, knowing that friction is what brings things to life. Whether it's a conversation, a concept of thinking, a way of looking at something, that friction at the moment. So somebody can say something to you, and what they say to you rubs you in a certain way. It's friction. So then from that, there is a response or a residual energy that combinates with the way you think and how whatever that came across you is. So when it combinates with the way you think, something else is created, and only the way you see it, though. You know what I mean? So this is being mindful of creating elements in life that actually are molding your physical characteristics of who you are. It just shows that we have more control over things if we are aware of them, and we'll be able to use them in a more beneficial value because we can see actually what is taking place. And if you know anything about the olden days, like magic and all that shit, wizards and shit, back in the day, or I say back in the day, back in the day, for me, reading these stories as a kid, I understood that most of the concepts that was created because of how different people feel. Like, you'll go, like, even if you're playing a video game, right, you'll be on this certain level or whatever, and the people in this town, somebody may grow wheat, and the other person may be a blacksmith, and then you have the person you can get lumber from and shit like that. These people had different characteristics, and you only can work with them in a way that would allow them to feel comfortable about working with you. So the blacksmith might only want natural ore from the earth. He don't want money. He want ore because he can use the ore to make stuff. So you get him a certain amount of ore, he'll make what you want, and he'll keep the rest. You know what I'm saying? Or the person who's growing wheat, need bell strings or some shit. You know what I'm saying? So you go get like 100,000 yards of wood vine, so he can make some string, and then he'll give you wheat. You know what I'm saying? Like everything was a fair exchange. And this is what they used to talk about in alchemy, how it's a fair exchange of energy, how you change one thing to another. That falls in the same concept. Like whether we see it or not, everything that works correctly is because there's a change, a fair exchange of energy. So sometimes your life changes completely at a certain point because of everything you did in it. You know what I'm saying? Like how much good energy or bad energy you put in a circumference of a small time to a larger time to an even larger time. Like saying you got 4 quarters in a year. You got 12 months. You know what I mean? Say each 4 months you did 3 crimes. You know what I'm saying? And you got away because you didn't do 4. And then, you know, through the whole year, motherfuckers will be like, damn, this nigga been doing this shit all year. Like, you know what I'm saying? So then that energy is building up for something to take place. That's the energy you putting out. Silence works in the same way. You'll be quiet forever. You'll be the most unseen person in the world. And then one day you'll be seen by someone. Just random, like, you be like, I don't never be around nobody. Then they, boom. Like, oh, what's good? You know what I'm saying? Like, energy works like that. So it's basically how much you put into a time frame. How much are you doing that in a day? How much are you doing that within 7 minutes? How much are you doing that within 7 hours? You know what I mean? 7 days, 7 weeks, 7 months, you know what I mean? Like, and it starts to build up. So the circumference of energy is wrapped around how much you put that energy into a day. You know what I mean? Into a minute, into a thought. You know what I mean? It keep breaking down to the minuscule or to the largest ratio, but that shows the potential of how fast it'll change into its counterpart. Everything in this world everything in this system of things that we deal with has a counterpart energy. It's contrast. So you only change to the contrast by the level of one side that you have put out. You know what I'm saying? So like you might be the person always putting out your heart, and then one day you just snap. You just like flip the fuck out. They be like, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, nothing, I'm good. But it goes back because it just took that one heavy energy of snapping that equaled a whole 8 months of you just being loving. You know what I'm saying? Or depending on the energy. It just depends on the energy in this trade. So I'm saying it like this so you can think to yourself and say, wow, I didn't think about it like that. All right, let me see within myself or go over certain things in yourself when you was triggered. And you be like, yo, I remember so-and-so said this and it made me feel this way. You know what I mean? Or I remember when this happened and I responded this way. Naturally, not just the shit you thought about, like the shit that you respond, like boom, off just your first thought. You know what I'm saying? You just react on that. Like, oh shit, I got a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like shit you respond to like that, like you react to instantly. And then ask yourself, so is it that what that person is saying or the energy behind it? Like remember the energy behind it. So then you can identify that energy in different circumstances. And when it comes at you, you can see your similar response. So that tells you that every time that energy hits you, you react that way. Shit is dope, you know what I'm saying? Like and then you start to see how much chemistry is taking place without you even being aware. Like, damn, I was doing that shit. And I didn't even understand. I didn't even know that. I thought I was just reacting when in fact I was creating. We don't even see being a control creator is understanding all the tools you got and how to use them for their best purpose. Like actually putting them together and then baking it. You know what I'm saying? That's a real creator. People create on the second level in the physical, like cars, working light switches, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And then we supposed to be able to create within society. You know what I mean? We supposed to be able to build and recreate energies of successful elemental actions. And when we're able to do that, you'll start seeing things take place for people because of what you're inputting. You're being mindful of what you have to input because you know if you input that to that energy, it's going to make that energy. So then you start seeing what you're capable of doing. It's like, well, if I feed you this food, I know this particular food is going to make you healthy this way. You know, the only thing I'm trying to show you, anybody who listening, the only thing I'm trying to show you is we can study anything in this world and get to the end of it and then be like, damn, I ain't never knew it was gonna feel so empty. You know what I'm saying? Like shit you do, you be like, damn, I did all that shit and I don't feel as accomplished because I worked on it for a long time. Or it's like eating the same food for a long time and you just be like, oh, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? The only thing in this world that I see that gives you complete fulfillment on a constant rate is studying spiritual connection and how that works for the human body. Yourself, though, like working you, looking at everything that you create and working that energy and then seeing how that works for you. Not dealing in the negative aspect because the backwards energy pulls you backwards. So then you start like burning out shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like grinding the gears in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? They're there for you to take notice, not to interact in. You know what I'm saying? So you're writing it down in your mind. You're making a menu. So just knowing that. Oh shit, we done passed 11 already. I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. We're gonna build some more. But yeah, take this knowledge, man. You already know the vibes. NAGA, all my information down in the description. One.